Okay, time is upon us. Studio. And a good morning to you, Lagos. You're tuning in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Right now, it's time to delve into the world of business inside of Business Express. In the studio with me, I've got Feyi from ARM and Ugo Dre of Nairametrics. Good morning. How are you doing?
Great. Morning, Folu.
Good morning.
Excellent. So we're just going to delve straight into it. Feyi, how was stock market activity on Friday?
The stock market closed positive on Friday. It was up by about 54 basis points on Friday, and for the week, it was also positive, up by 1.19%. The week-on-week gain was majorly driven by Dangote Cement. The stock gained by, about 4% week-on-week, and the stock is waiting on the index, so that majorly led the stock market to close positive. In terms of currency, the currency remained stable around 362 naira to the dollar.
All right, thank you very much for that. But let's move on to our first topic now. So we're seeing news reports about the 2019 budget being smaller than the 2018 budget. Can you shed some more light on this? Everyone's in a little bit of a panic. We keep thinking the budget keeps going up, so this is curious.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Typically, the budget keeps going up, but this time around, it's smaller. The federal government is proposing a capex spend of around, sorry, a total spend of around 8.6 trillion naira, which is lower by about 5% compared to 2018. That's the approved budget of 9.12 trillion naira. In terms of where the decline is coming from, it's majorly capex. They are planning a capex spend of 2.5 trillion naira, lower than 2.9 that was approved by the Senate in 2018. And I guess this feeds off from the fact that revenue is weaker and the government is still struggling to generate sufficient revenue to meet up with its recurrent needs. So recurrent is actually priority. Recurrent is basically personnel cost and debt service. And if you look at historical budget implementation reports, they usually implement the recurrent expenditure fully 100%. So if they are struggling to generate sufficient revenue to even meet up with that, they have to borrow from domestic or external sources to meet up for that shortfall. And after doing all that borrowings, you do not really have the allowance to borrow so much for capex. And that's why in prior years we've seen capex implementation stories typically around 30 to 50% for capex implementation. So going into 2019, I guess they looked at the revenue expectation. It's not that strong again in 2019. They're expecting about 7 trillion naira,
Okay.
which is a little bit lower than 7.15 trillion naira they budgeted for 2019. And
Yeah.
they've told them so that they might not be able to meet up with capital expenditure. Let us just cut this line and lower the total expenditure. I guess if I give the 2017 implementation reports out, this will explain this better. So in 2017, the revenue they collected was around 2.6 trillion naira.
Okay.
And that was lower than the planned receipt of 5 trillion naira.
Yes.
Now, total recurrent spend in 2017 was 4.6. So what that means is that they had to borrow that difference from domestic sources. Now, after you've done all of that, you do not really have so much allowance to borrow so much for capex because the government has to watch its debts, borrowings as well as this borrowing costs.
Okay.
And that's reflected in the capital expenditure. The actual capital expenditure in 2017, they spent about 1.4 trillion naira, lower than 2.2 that they planned. So I guess when the only time we'll see an improvement in capex implementation or higher capital expenditure budgets is when the government can have sufficient ways or generate sufficient ways to collect revenue, majorly from taxes. Tax receipt is very poor and oil receipt is very volatile. This year it can be low, next year it can be high, depending on what's going on in the global market.
Yeah.
So that's majorly the reason why the total expenditure plan is weaker in 2019.
Okay, very interesting. Would there any comments, especially looking at what the federal government is maybe hoping to achieve via the budget, the 2019 budget?
Yeah, a few pointers here.
Okay.
What is very clear for Lou is that Nigeria is not a very rich rich country in terms of
No.
revenue.
Our people think that we
Even
are,
though-
though.
Yeah, we think we are, but we're actually not very rich. Actually, not rich at all. Even though we claim to have GDP of maybe 400 billion dollars plus, we don't get tax revenue to GDP is still very low. Now, a few pointers in this budget as well. We are seeing budget deficit rising to I think 2.4 trillion or so. 2.5 trillion actually. So that means that next year, so you guys don't be surprised, next year the government is going to borrow another 2.5 trillion. So total external debt stands at about $22 billion. So by next year, we're probably looking at maybe $26 billion in terms of total external debt. So we're not getting enough revenue, but then we are borrowing. Now, a recurrent expenditure, their plan is to actually increase recurrent expenditure to about 70% of the budget next year. So, and if you take into cognizance the threatened NLC strike and the quest for increasing minimum wage, now you understand, why recurrent expenditure would continue to be on the rise. I actually think the amount they have here now is a bit conservative. It might be slightly higher than what it is now. So it's not very good times for Nigeria economically. Something needs to give. I think the government, even the revenue projection they have here is actually very bullish. I don't think they're probably going to hit any of that. So,
Which
brace up,
targets
man.
have
Brace,
we?
brace
Which
up, brace
targets?
up. Recurrent expenditure target, we hit it time, 100%.
That's the ditchable revenue.
That's what we ever do
collect,
as a country. I don't think. I mean, like since I've been, tracking this economy, now I don't think we've ever done 12 trillion revenue in general, total revenue to accruing to the government and to the state and federal government. We've never done that.
We've
And in the
never
last 3
even
years, we've been doing
budgeted
10,
that amount
11.
before.
Now I'm even saying the total amount that's accruable to this country
Yes.
has been more than 12 trillion, and that was years ago.
Eesh.
So I mean,
okay.
yeah. So it's not like we're expanding or we're growing. So I mean, you people should just understand that we're not just so
Times are
rich.
different for us. Ladies and gentlemen, send in your messages in the last few minutes now. The number to message is 0809 444 0981. You can also tweet at us. Just use the hashtag BusinessExpress981. I know that people kept talking about a return back to the January to December budget cycle. I don't even think it's worth asking if we're going to meet it for next year because
January to December.
Yes.
Well, it all depends on the politics of the National Assembly and the executive branch. Last year, I think they made this. I mean, the FSP is usually ready around this time, so it's not
Yes.
new. The issues, and I'm very pretty sure that Buhari and his guys will probably submit the budget maybe towards the end of this year or early next year. But first quarter of next year, nobody's going to be looking at the budget. It's all politics.
All right, let's move on now. Talk oil, shall we? So, third quarter earning results. We'll be looking at first at one of the players in the Greek space, which is Okomu Oil. Excuse me. So, Feyi, your take on their results, please.
Okumu's result was actually good. That's their third quarter result. They reported EPS of 1 naira and 36 kobo. That's way higher than 17 kobo they did last year. In terms of the driver, it was majorly cost of sales. That was down by about 55%. But when you look at it from the top, from revenue was weaker by about 9%, majorly due to lower rubber sales. So Okomu exports all of its rubber products. And so due to that, they have to take international rubber prices, and since the beginning of the year, due to a surplus in the rubber market, rubber prices have been coming down, and that impacted on Okomu's rubber sales. Rubber price was actually down 20%. Rubber sales fell by about 35%. Looking at palm oil sales, that was also weaker by 1%, also due to lower CPO prices, that's lower crude palm oil price, still feeding off of what is going on in the global market. So crude palm oil in global markets has been falling since the beginning due to surplus, and that impacted on domestic crude palm oil, and also impacted on Okumu's palm oil sales for 2018 as well as the third quarter. But as I mentioned before, despite this pressure, earnings was still stronger due to lower cost of sales, and it actually came as a surprise to us because typically in the second half, that's their planting season. They're taking a lot of farmers to cultivate the land, and they spend a lot of money in doing that. So historically, third quarter cost of sales is typically high, but this time around it's way lower. We're going to get clarity on that from management.
Okay.
Also, energy, they've been facing energy pressures since the beginning of the year. They mentioned that they've not been able to get sufficient power supply from the event set, but we expected these pressures to impact on cost, but there was a significant moderation, which is a surprise to us. But I mean, with due to that moderation, earnings was stronger, and that's led to this. That basically led to the strong growth in third quarter's earnings. In terms of our expectation, we are expecting full year results to still remain good due to their strong H1. We actually have a buy rating on the stock with a target price of 92 naira, and the stock is actually cheap, trading at 8.2 times compared to Middle East at around 13 times.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Ugo Dre, any final comments very quickly?
Yeah, Okomu Oil, strong balance sheet. One of the two agro companies that you have on the Nigerian Stock Exchange that are doing quite well. It's a stock that I have in my portfolio. I've had it for years now. I remember buying Okomu Oil at about 33 naira or something some years back. Still have it in my portfolio. Strong ones. One of those stocks that you always want to have in your portfolio. Sometimes it can be cyclical, depending on how CPO prices. But it's a strong balance sheet. Very little debt. I think it's a company you want to own as well.
Okay, very quickly, we've got one question that I can take here. Joe asks, has the budget been presented as a proposal to the House, or is this based on the MTF?
No, it's still based on the MTA. It hasn't been proposed to the House. It hasn't been sent to the National Assembly.
Feyi of ARM, Ugo Dre of Nairametrics, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And thank you to everyone who's contributed. Sorry we don't have time for that many comments. Thank you very much. Are they here? Okay, cool. Sorry, I have guests inside.